Being an Audible original, I came in assuming that this was going to be a well put together audiobook, but I was quickly blown away with just how good it was and how much attention to detail it had. The sounds and screams did so much to add emotion and gravity to moments that were already tragic and hard-hitting. The sounds made everything seem so much more real, like I was in the room watching everything play out in front of my eyes. There were moments that went as far as having a fire crackling or wood creaking, something that you would normally hear in a feature film, not an audiobook. From what I remember, the other Audible originals, Tempest Runner and Dooku Jedi Lost, were nowhere near the same quality of production as this one, although I may have just forgotten, or it's entirely possible that those stories didn't have a moment on the same level as the one where they could demonstrate this attention to detail. The music also helped add a lot of emotion to certain scenes by using tracks that I already associate with specific moments from the films, but it was also used to build up the tension to some of the bigger moments in the story. The full cast of voice actors for the characters was something that I really appreciated, and helped to some degree to tell the characters apart while I was still learning their names, but it was still a struggle to start off with. The story starts off with the initial conflict, and then goes back to where everything started, counting down to what began with the start of each section. At first it had little to no effect on me, but as peace started to get out of hand, and the countdown got lower and lower, it built up a sense of dread within me as we neared what was sure to be a devastating event for everyone. As various characters started to convene on Jedha, I was pleasantly surprised at how many Jedi were being brought together from the various books so far. There were Jedi and other characters from all three novels of Phase 2, Convergence, Quest of the Hidden City, and Path to Deceit, and it really helped ease a major problem that I'd been having with the Phase so far, which was the lack of interconnectedness, something that I grew really fond of in the Phase 1. I don't think any of the other novels are necessary reads coming into the story, but the story from Convergence definitely plays a role in the book, and it's also nice to know a little more about the Jedi when we meet them here. However, as the Jedi come together, we do get a brief recap of the important points of Convergence and Quest for the Hidden City in their dialogue, which is enough to understand what's happening on Jedha at the moment. The Path of the Open Hand is also on Jedha during the story, and while they don't have a huge role, I did enjoy the group more here than I originally did in Path to Deceit. Between them and the growing tensions across Jedha, there was a constant, ominous tone almost from the very beginning, in a way that felt very similar to the Rising Storm. Everything starts out on a positive note, with a big event set to take place, but as a reader we know something bad is on the horizon, and once it occurs, chaos erupts and the consequences are severe for everyone. Something that the book does very well is flesh out Jedha and its culture. When we're introduced to the planet in Rogue One, and then we see its destruction by the Death Star, we understand it's bad, but we don't really have any emotional connection to the location. After reading this, that scene is going to hit so much harder for so many fans. We're introduced to a variety of local sects and religions on Jedha, and just how everything operates on a daily basis. The city is a melting pot for all sorts of religions and kinds of people, and while we only get to know a few of the individuals directly, the overall detailing of the setting was one of my favorite aspects of the story. The book also has a variety of new and familiar characters, and I was surprised at how much they grew on me by the end, whether I knew them before with the previous stories or not. When a conflict broke out, I found myself genuinely concerned for almost every character's life. The fun banter between characters made it feel like the connections between them were all genuine and that they really knew each other. Each character was fleshed out in their own unique way, and while some of the acting felt excessive at times, there were specific characters where it really stood out to me how great it was. Salandra Sho went from being just another Jedi in Quest for the Hidden City to being a standout in the story. I don't know who the voice actor for her is, but she did an incredible job delivering lines full of emotion and weight to them. Another one of my favorite characters to come out of the book is P-37A, a droid put together with scraps. At first I didn't think much of them, but as the droid became a bigger part of the story, their quotes about the philosophy of the Force really became some of my favorite dialogue in the book. Kraden and Muna, two other side characters with very minor roles, also grew on me a lot. This definitely feels like one of the more essential stories to come out of Phase 2 so far, so if you've been picking and choosing which stories to read, I would definitely include this one. Like I said before, it connects a lot of the various characters and storylines from all three novels so far to the point where you can get a pretty good sense of the events in Phase 2 between Convergence and this. Between the story finally connecting all the dots and the quality of the audiobook, this is easily my favorite read of Phase 2 so far. The audiobook is out now, and I'm pretty sure the script comes out in hardcover format within a month or so, if that's more your thing. The Battle of Jedha is an audiobook of top-notch quality that fleshes out a familiar setting while bringing together new and familiar characters for an exciting and emotional mystery, earning a rating of 9.5 out of 10. Let me know what you thought of the Battle of Jedha in the comments below, or if you'll be picking it up after this. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more in-depth reviews like this, as well as up-to-date news stories, Star Wars lore, gaming videos, and more. As always, thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.